gentlemen, welcome back to Doctor Who Reviews, aka Stop the Country, I Want to Get Off edition. Yeah, we're having a few issues at the moment in my country of the UK.
Tiny spot of bother.
Just a small spot of bother involving the government collapsing. You know, just no biggie.
He'll, keep calm and carry on. Stiff upper lip. Oh dear God, what's he done this time?
Resigned.
Yeah, he's still.
He's
there,
resigned,
so.
but he's staying on as Prime Minister until September because he wants to have a big party in Chequers. I think it wasn't a big party in Chequers that was kind of the cause of this in the first place. Well, it wasn't just that. There was a lot of reasons for it, some of which I don't want to get into, some of which I don't want to get sued for libel. But yeah, he's gone. He wasn't all bad, and I'm being honest here. Some of the things he did kind of worked. Some of the things he did were terrible, but I can't forgive him for the Partygate thing.
Yeah, that is fucked up.
And then the other thing that was the straw that broke the camel's back, which again I'm not going to get into because it's rather unpleasant, and ironically enough, it's not something he himself did, but he was aware of it, and that's why he had to go.
I legitimately don't recall what you're talking about.
I will tell you after the podcast is finished.
You can tell me later. But hello! Well, anyway, we'll move away from that political intrigue to go to a Doctor Who episode about, let me check my notes here, political intrigue. Oh.
Yeah, we timed this extremely well because some of the themes of this episode are kind of being reflected in a much less extreme capacity in my country right now, so that's great.
Unless you think I jumped on that reflected pun and go, bip, 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 bip. Well, we got a big stonking one later.
I'm leaving the mirror alert till the big one, yeah. But to talk with me about political intrigue, just the one usual co-host this time, because Kachiri is currently playing in a tournament, and best of luck to him.
Hey, win the race. What is he racing? The randomizer?
I think it's a speed run. It's either a speed run or a randomized tournament, but
or both.
Best of luck to him anyway. The very best of British. Maybe I shouldn't say that given what we're currently going through. But yeah, my one usual co-host. If he were a luchador, his stage name would be El Reflecto. It's FreezingInferno.
Oh, beautiful. So this is wild because Rainiac and I did a review back on my channel. This was like a decade ago of this serial. So we've kind of come full circle again. It's like, oh, it's just the two of us talking about this Patrick Troughton story. And what an interesting backstory this has.
Yeah, so you may.
So it came out late 1967, early 1968. In the middle, near the end of season 5 of the show, which it's a bit of a aberration from season 5 because season 5 is all, traditional Doctor Who stories. You've seen Tomb of the Cybermen. We've done Tomb of the Cybermen. Now imagine that basic structure repeated like 5 or 6 more times. That's that season, because you've got we're locked in a place and there are Doctor Who monsters coming to get us. Oh no. So you've got the Yeti do it twice, first in the monastery, then in the underground. Then you've got the Ice Warriors in their debut doing it. Then you've got fucked up Seaweed doing it in Fury from the Deep. And then you end the season with the Cybermen doing it again in space. And then we've got this story, which has no aliens in it other than Doctor Who, and is just a story about political intrigue and all sorts of machinations of world domination and other wild bullshit over 6 parts. It's very grounded and very intriguing, and also it is one of those Doctor Who stories that was missing for quite some time. And so, there it was. I remember I watched at the time one of those reconstructions where it's like, oh, it's the still images and they roll the thing. We dealt with this in Underwater Menace, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for the time. Never in a million fucking years would I imagine what would happen, which is in 2013, sometime just before the 50th, they found all of the Enemy of the World and almost all of the Web of Fear, and it came out in this big fucking released digitally on iTunes for everyone to see, and it's like I cannot express. I watched this reconstruction, loading up episode 1 and seeing it move. I was like, oh my god, it's like it's fucking exists. Holy shit, I'm seeing something wild. And so because now that it actually exists, Doctor Who fandom at large kind of has warmed to it a little more now that they can, see it. And I want to cite some numbers from the polls from Doctor Who magazine that we routinely make fun of, and but you can clearly see the trend here. So in 2009, they did a poll, and this story was in 139th place, mostly missing. It had one episode which existed, episode 3, which is funny considering.
It's the dullest, yeah.
And so when it came out, 2013, we had the 2014 poll, which we've cited, and it sits at 56th place as of that poll. So
okay, so that's respectable.
Quite a significant jump. And, lest you give them any, credit, consider that Web of Fear came out at the same time, and it's much more of the traditional Doctor Who story, It's got the monster, and it's also got the debut of Nicholas Courtney as the character who would become Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. So Web of Fear on that poll is at 16th place, which kind of recency bias, kind of, the Doctor Who should be about monsters. But, for reference, the highest ranked missing episodes on both of these polls was Evil of the Daleks at 18th in 2009 and at 34th in 2014, and both of those predate the animation they did for Evil. So again, they're just rating it entirely on returning classic monster, very traditional, even though, well, I hesitate to call Evil of the Daleks quite traditional, even though it has the Daleks, because it's got some gonzo in it.
Is that the one where Victoria's literally in a princess tower?
Yes, it is.
That does sound kind of... I mean, apart from the whole damsel in distress trope, that does sound kind of great.
There's some good in it. There's some bad in it. Some dodgy racial portrayals, shall we say.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, so if we ever get to that, we'll have to talk about that. But yeah, so Enemy of the World is this story that we got to see a real, reappraisal of because it was found within our lifetime. So, and as of this recording, it's the last Doctor Who episodes to be found. It might be the last ever to get found, but not a bad thing to go out on. Not really.
Found in Nigeria, of all places.
Yeah.
A TV station dump in Nigeria.
Even though the person who found them is kind of a absolute fucking shitheel, an NMD who sucks.
Is it Ian again?
No, Philip Morris.
Oh, he's an MD too?
No, he sucks, yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
He sucks, but he dug up Enemy of the World for better or worse. So. And now we get to talk about it.
I was about to bring up that wonderful dunking on Ian Levine by Elizabeth Sladen.
Oh, please do.
I mean, it's not so that relevant because it's the Daleks, but basically he's interviewing her for I think a DVD, isn't it? And he basically questions why she's always wearing the same clothes. And she says, Ian, if you've got a Dalek up your ass, you don't care what jumper you're wearing.
Thank you. So, Enemy of the World, then. We should probably, fast track through most. I mean, this is 6-parter, so if we...
This is a long one, yeah.
If we spend every time summarizing every little bit, we're going to be here for 2.5 hours, so...
And I don't want to do that, so...
we can kind of...
I've got places to go. I've got to be busy curling up to a ball and crying because of the state of the country. But we start with a scene that basically comes directly out of The Prisoner. The Doctor.
There's a lot of prisoner in it.
Yeah, very much so. I wonder if that was the intention by Barry Letts. The Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria, who is this the first? Oh no, we did Tomb of the Cybermen. She's in that.
Yeah.
So this is our second real look at Victoria. I'm not counting the cameo from the Comic Relief special. I'm not counting Dimensions in Time. No.
Nobody counts Dimensions in Time.
Not even the cast. Not even the cast of Dimensions in Time count Dimensions in Time. It's that bad. But basically, they land on a beach in Australia. Him, Jamie, and Victoria. They're immediately attacked by men.
Well, first, Doctor Who is like, he's like, oh, it's the beach! Oh, I'm gonna swim it! Yeah!
Yes.
Which I love Troughton's just childlike glee and like, oh, yeah! He just strips off all his clothes. Well, not all his clothes. He strips off to his under things and he just jumps into the water. Oh, yeah!
So what you're saying is he's John Burt after the Richard Nixon interview went live. Do you know that story?
No.
It's told in the film Frost Nixon. Basically, they have a series of interviews between David Frost, who was a very heavyweight and respected interviewer in this country, and Richard Nixon after he was president. And the first interview goes badly, and Nixon basically controls it. But in the third and final one, they get a very big close-up on Nixon looking sad. And that image was hugely powerful. And John Burt was so happy to get that image, he allegedly stripped naked and jumped into the ocean to celebrate. And Matthew McFadden, who played him, got to do that scene.
Oh my god.
In the film.
That sounds like a film I should check out.
It is very good, but we're not here to talk about Frost Nixon. So yeah,
we're here to talk about other political bullshit.
After some skinny dipping, they're attacked by three men. Believe it or not, Anton, Curly, and Rod.
They're in a hovercraft.
Quick, drop the oil slick. We'll catch Timber the Tiger out this time for sure.
But yeah, they call up this lady, Astrid Ferrier, who's going to be very important later, and they're like, "It's him. He's here on the beach." Oh, well, wait for me to come and make sure you got the right guy. No, we're going to do it ourselves. And they hang the phone and they drive the hovercraft and they pull out their guns and they start shooting.
Yeah. Basically, we start right away with action.
I mean, the common line about Enemy of the World is as a James Bond pastiche. So
yeah,
and you can kind of see it in the opening here.
I can see it.
Yeah.
All we needed was Secret Agent men playing over this, but they shoot at them. They get in the helicopter. They shoot at the helicopter, despite the fact that she's on their side.
Yeah, they're really determined to kill whoever this is.
The helicopter takes some damage. Then they land at Astrid's private residence. Astrid has been shot in the crossfire.
Yeah.
In come the men. They shoot one of their own by mistake.
Oops.
And then I think it's Curly. Tony's wiki is not entirely clear on this. And their names are so generic that I wasn't sure who got shot. But one of the
Stooges.
One of the Stooges gets shot. And the other two go to the helicopter. But oops, the helicopter has been punctured in the fuel tank by a bullet, so it blows up and kills all three of them. Well, kills the two that remain.
Oh, a couple little fill-ins here. First of all, while they're in the helicopter, they see that the helicopter's license expires in the year 2018, so that dates the story.
Yeah.
In the far-off future of 2008.
God, what I would give now to give back to those 4 years where there was no COVID and the political climate was somewhat stable.
Well, you say so. I mean,
actually, no.
Orange Man's still in power.
Yeah, and also it was the fallout of Brexit. Never mind. What I would give to go back to 2014 when we first reviewed this.
Remember 2014 when politics were good?
Remember 2014 when the world wasn't terrible?
It still was, let's be real. But also, there's a bit of a quiet moment before the hovercrafted guys get to the chateau house, whatever, where Astrid gets to explain that, let me take you to my boss. His name's Charles Kent. He'll explain everything about what's going on. Because she says the doctor resembles a guy named Salamander, who has aspirations of world domination. And so they escape after all this bullshit and go back to Giles Kent. And Giles Kent is like, holy shit, he really does look like this Salamander. Well, here, check it out. And he throws on the video of Salamander speaking at a public engagement. And oh god, we got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, so Patrick Troughton in a double role.
So first of all, let's get it out of the way. Doctor Who Mirror Alert. Doctor Who Mirror Alert.
Yeah, one of the biggest honking mirror alerts we've ever done.
Yeah.
And this is why I chose this after, last week.
Oh yeah, because we did this. We did it again. Well, you did it on purpose.
Well, this time I did it on purpose. What we did again was the political thing, which I wish we hadn't.
Well,
I so wish we hadn't.
What, Doctor Who being political?
No, I mean I so wish we hadn't predicted what was going to happen a little bit. I kind of hope this didn't mirror current events, but it kind of does.
I mean, don't blame yourself. Blame Boris Johnson.
I mean, people have been doing that on a daily basis, which is kind of the reason why he's gone. But
the funniest thing is whatever he promised, to take away. What was it when he took away the NHS? You'd save like £350 million a day. There's been a Twitter account that's been counting how much Boris Johnson owes.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't the NHS.
£98 billion.
You're talking about the infamous Boris bus lie, where
that's the one.
The NHS would get £350 million we'd save from leaving the EU.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, cards on the table. I actually was a supporter of Brexit. Originally, I was a reluctant Remainer because I thought that the EU had its flaws, but we could fix it if we stayed in the EU. And then it emerged that we absolutely couldn't do that because they had absolutely no intention of any reforms. So leaving was the best course of action. But the way that the leaving has been handled is terrible.
I mean, they've been trying to have their cake and eat it too, haven't they? Let's leave, but let's get all these benefits that we have from staying.
Yeah, which is kind of what he's now doing as the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
He's leaving, but he's staying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Having your cake and eating it too, and dragging your feet while doing it at the detriment of the country. That's kind of his career in a nutshell.
We're going to have to sort of break up the real life political stuff because I can only take so much of it in one go. But
okay, well, why don't we talk about dodgy? Why don't we talk about dodgy racism instead?
I was hoping to skip over that, but we have to. Yeah. So Patrick Troughton's in a double role here as the Doctor, yes, but as Ramon Salamander, although his first name is never actually mentioned in the dialogue.
Yeah.
Salamander is a Mexican man. Patrick Troughton is not Mexican.
So they kind of gave him a tan makeup look, and he talks in a dodgy Mexican accent. So, yeah!
It was the style at the time.
It was the style at the time, as we've seen in episodes like...
It doesn't make it good, but it was the style at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it being in black and white makes it a little less egregious than two coughs.
Yeah, but also, we railed two cops for this, so...
Oh, I'm not giving it a pass.
And I remember, we really didn't, touch on this when we talked about it, 10 years ago or whatever. But, yeah, I mean,
I know you sometimes, make joking fun of me for being a centrist. But even as a centrist, I can accept this is not right.
Yeah. It's not a great portrayal.
Also, again, a centrist is not what a lot of people think it is, but I'm not going to go into that. It's not the, let's kill no kittens, let's drown 100 kittens. No, compromise, let's drown 50 kittens. No, the centrist take is, let's kill no kittens because it's stupid to kill kittens. The true centrist take. Oh, God, I sound like that One True Scotsman thing. Oh, no.
Oh, no. But, yeah, I mean... We're going to talk about the merits of this episode, but it must be said... This is kind of a black mark against it, let's say.
Yeah.
Strike against it. I mean,
the first of two, I would say.
To compare, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast. I've been watching Quantum Leap for my blog, which is a very good show, but also made in 1989 and very prickly and thorny in a lot of places about things like race, gender,
the fall of
the
Berlin Wall. Yeah.
Oh my God! I haven't gotten to the Berlin Wall one yet. Oh no!
I've not seen it. But I assume there is a Berlin Wall episode because it's 89.
Well, I mean, it's it's jumping around in time and space.
Okay.
So, it's not set in 1980.
Then you're probably fine.
I will say the episode I watched as of recording most recently was about someone with a and as I said in the post I wrote, I apologize if this is the incorrect term for it, an intellectual disability. They do not use the term intellectual disability to refer to this character in the episode. They use a different word that I will not repeat multiple times.
Are you referring to learning difficulties?
Yeah.
Right,
like
because
that.
having got them myself, I'm fine with that term. Or the other term you use, not the hard R, not the hard R, but
they hard R a lot in this episode. And, even though the episode had its heart in the right place, and it's very much about like how the prejudices against people with these difficulties is wrong and unfair, and it's bullshit of society to do that. Even though the episode's about that, you gotta strike against it for using that outdated terminology that is not aged gracefully.
Yeah, but I can also accept it's a bit of a tightrope, because how do you portray that without portraying that?
Well,
you don't use the hard R term, obviously, but other than that,
yeah, don't using the hard R term is a start. Is a start.
But it wasn't seen as taboo then, and it is now.
Exactly. Well, I don't know how taboo it was back then, but it's definitely taboo now. Say that for sure.
I mean, when was the Black Eyed Peas song that used that and had
that was
change?
Like 2005, 2004.
Yeah, so that's quite a lot after that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I can go. Yeah,
but anyway, that's Salamander.
Yeah, so it's like that, Even though this episode has a problematic portrayal of Patrick Troughton tanned up and doing a dodgy Mexican accent, that's not great. There are great things about this episode.
What is great though is that he gets to play the villain, taking on this double role.
Oh yeah,
and he's actually very good at it.
Hell yeah, he is.
In the same way that Tom Baker was actually pretty good as the villain as Meglos, Troughton is great as Salamander if you ignore the whole dodgy Mexican accent thing. Which you shouldn't.
So they watch... Yeah, so they watch one of his speeches, and he's talking about how he's going to help make the crops grow and replenish the food stocks with his beneficial technology and all this shit. But Giles Ken's like, that's just a cover. He secretly wants to control the planet. And my reputation was ruined because I spoke out against Salamander. Well, you could probably just be making up stories about him for revenge. No! We'll prove it! And then Giles Kent shows a little ruthless side. He mentions Salamander's chief of security, Donald Bruce, and how he's ruthless. And then says, you know what, Doctor? You should impersonate Salamander. Then we could find out the truth about him, that he's evil and bad. And to convince the Doctor to do this, Kent has called Donald Bruce to come there. So now he has only a couple of minutes to decide and do the thing. He's basically coerced and forced into it, because otherwise he'll just be fucking arrested.
Or worse.
And so that's our cliffhanger then, as Donald Bruce comes in and grills everybody for a bit, and then opens the cupboard, and here's the Doctor, dressed up like Salamander, doing a dodgy Mexican accent.
Yeah, that's basically demanding Bruce why he's here.
Yeah. The cliffhanger game is interesting. It's deliberately cutting against the kind of bullshit.
Yeah, this is just like the end of a chapter of a book.
Yeah.
Like, we come to the end of the chapter, here's the next chapter.
It's like, something interesting is going to happen next time. It's not like we joke about cliffhanger game being strong or weak, but it's a deliberate choice here. It's not like let's have some contrived danger. It's like, now I'm going to shoot you next week. Now I'm going to shoot you. Wait, you shouldn't do that. Okay.
Yeah, I actually prefer that. It sometimes works to have, shocking cliffhangers in stories. I mean, there's been some brilliant cliffhangers. But when it takes a more pared down approach like here and just has, right, tune in next time to see what happens next, I'm fine with that. It depends on the story, but it works here. It doesn't need a huge twist to end the episode and say into the next one. You're already going to watch, because the central premise of the Doctor impersonates a villain is by itself pretty interesting.
Yeah. So the cliffhanger game for this is basically just like, I wonder what's going to happen next. I want to tune in next week to see. It's not, oh no, how are we going to get out of this one? Oh, just like say, wait, don't do that.
Yeah. So the scene then plays out at the beginning of part 2 then, where Bruce is skeptical, but obviously the man in front of him is his boss. So he listens to him, he follows his instructions. Astrid basically says that the dead man in her house was trying to protect her. Bruce doesn't actually believe this, but Salamander says, no, she's telling the truth, get out of here. And then when Bruce is out of the way, Kent says, well, that went really well. I assume you're on board with me now, Doctor. I still don't know
really.
If this Salamander's evil or not.
He's not sure who's on the right side. Now, in a way, that can be seen as delaying the plot, but also, they justify it at the end and tie it all together nicely.
It's less delaying the plot and more providing a grey area.
Yeah.
And how I like my moral grey areas.
Uh-huh. But so instead of the Doctor doing this plan, we have a different plan that we enact, where Astrid has had a plan to infiltrate Salamander's inner circle, and so she'll adapt the plan so Jamie and Victoria can go infiltrate, and that's what we get for the next episode.
Yeah, this is the one. Oh, but before that, I have to mention this. So they said that Bruce was ruthless, and he was the previous security chief was actually Giles Kent. He replaced his position, and then got promoted to like world security chief. We then meet his deputy. His deputy is just an asshole.
Oh, this little Weasley
Fennec.
shit.
Yeah.
Fennec.
Slimy little sewer rat.
Yeah.
Whereas Bruce is tough but fair.
Yeah.
And the story goes out of its way to portray him like that. I mean, we'll touch more on specific actions and viewpoints he has throughout the thing. But he's not seen as a villain.
He's not evil. He's just sort of an antagonist force.
He's an antagonist de facto because he's following orders of the main antagonist.
Yeah.
But even though we haven't met Salamander in person yet, we immediately are given the impression that maybe Giles Kent is not telling the truth about Bruce, because Bruce is not acting the way that Giles Kent is saying he acts.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. It's providing enough question marks, enough doubt in the viewers' minds.
Yeah.
But then we do get to actually meet the real Salamander. And he's a piece of work.
Yeah.
So he's having a meeting with a couple of his subordinates, Dinesh and Fedorin. And he says that, these volcanoes in Hungary will soon erupt and there'll be catastrophic results. Huge loss of life. And Dinesh is like, I'm not sure I believe you. Dinesh, by the way, is Kent's last ally in Salamander's team. They mention that. That's kind of important. Dinesh basically is defying him, either maybe not openly, but he's defying him. Salamander's not happy about that. He then calls Fedorin back and essentially blackmails him.
Oh, it's not blackmail. It's not blackmail, my God. Come on. How does he put it later? I gotta find it here.
I can't remember.
He puts it later. It's funny.
What the Russians might call compromat. He has a file on him.
Oh, yeah. I'm not blackmailing you. I'm actually suppressing bad facts about you.
Even though the file basically contains a load of lies.
Yeah. I'm blackmailing you.
But it sufficiently spooks Fedorin enough to turn Fedorin to his side.
Yeah.
As we'll see in the Cliffhanger part 2. But then more action happens. Because
here's the plan.
As Fedorin's talking to Salamander's food tester Faria, and more on her in a moment. Jamie just jumps out of nowhere, attacks the guard, knocks the guard out, points a gun at Salamander. Then Salamander's about to press a button to call guards in. He grabs that and throws it out of the way. Then there's an explosion because Astrid has triggered one. And you're thinking, well, what's going on? Did David just trying to assassinate Salamander? No, he just saved his life.
Ah, that's the plan.
They set up a phony attempt on his life, and Jamie is the savior.
And
And
so,
Salamander's like, well, you saved my life. The least I can do is offer you a job here.
and he manages to get Victoria a job too.
Yeah,
So
he
now
plays it
they're
coy. He's like, oh, I'd love to, but I'm just visiting my girlfriend. Oh, not to worry. We've got room in the kitchens for her. Bring her in. Again,
so
it was the style at the time.
it was just now it's time. But I mean, the kitchens will give us some funny bullshit later.
Oh, the kitchens are great.
But yeah, so Astrid and Danish briefly meet under a dock to discuss their plan and what's going on. And while that's happening, Federer is basically getting blackmailed. Oh, yeah, you're going to replace Danish as the controller of this zone. You see how nice I am? And all you got to do is support me. And I'll let you be the controller, and I'll keep all these nasty, nasty things about you under lock and key. All you got to do is just play ball with.
And the upshot is that he gets him to turn on Dennis because, like, well, you have let thousands of people die. This is the last straw. You're going to be arrested. It's like, well, Federer will back me up. Federer will be the chief witness against you. What? Bruce, take him away. And Bruce, again, is reluctant to do this, but it's his job.
We should mention that Salamander first says, oh, Dennis, well, he's the controller of his own, but I think he's going to have an unfortunate accident later. And then volcanoes fucking erupt. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Salamander was right. A terrible natural disaster has happened, and Danish wasn't responsible in evacuating the people. Thousands of civilians have died. You're unfit to be controller. Arrest this man immediately.
Yeah. That's how we end it.
And that's the end of part 2 with Veteran's betrayal.
Yeah,
it's like
with the coward. The coward
like
now.
A chapter in a book, and Federer betrayed him.
He can't even look at him as he's led away.
Mm.
He knows what he's done, but
so I should mention again, part 3 until 2013 was the sole surviving episode of Enemy of the World. So this is all that fandom had to go on. Fandom in like the 80s.
And they still put it 139th.
Still put it 139th.
That's impressive, actually.
No, it's not bad. But for traditional Doctor Who fandom, who's like, well, Daleks and the Cybermen are God. I love it when they stomp around and shoot people and make them go hard. And then seeing one out of context episode, Enemy of the World, and it being episode 3, certainly you can almost understand how they came to write it off at 139th until they were able to actually see more of the fucking thing.
Because this is the most, by Barrett's own admission, this is the dullest part of the entire story.
No,
Well, he thought it was.
I mean,
and of course, it was the one that actually survived until the whole lot was around years after his death, sadly. But it does give us a couple of the best things about this whole serial.
Yeah, it has a comedy side character. So, how many people love comedy? Just look at that other comedic farce of a story, The Gunfighters. Oh, wait.
But we have a genuinely good comedic side character. But before that, we've got more intrigue and backstabbing going on because Dinesh is happy that he's going to be facing Salamander in open trial. And Federer is like, Salamander says to Federer, oh, congratulations on your promotion, but we kind of need to take care of this Dinesh problem. So he gives him some poison, puts the blackmail documents into a safe to like, we never had this conversation. You're absolutely fine. I wonder what's going to happen there. Jamie is now on Salamander's personal guard detail.
Which surprises Bruce because he's like,
yeah, weren't you in Australia? What was he doing in Australia? I can't tell you. Salamander's the leader. So again, what the hell is going on here? But then we do meet the best part of this story. Say hello everyone to the best character in this thing, Griffin, Salamander's personal chef.
So good.
He's only like in one part, isn't he? Which makes it even more impressive.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually appear beyond part 3. But what makes Griffin so great is his attitude to life.
Yeah.
This is basically Marvin the Paranoid Android if he was human and a chef.
Basically, yeah.
Because everything he does, everything that happens around him, he's just got this very misanthropic, defeatist, nihilistic attitude to life.
His first conversation with Victoria, he's like, you know how to cook? Oh yeah, oh I know a pudding menu, and she tells him all this recipe, and it's like, how you do it? Just whoosh it all together, huh? Oh yeah, I got a job for you, all right. Peel those spuds.
Yeah. In the end, Ferrier intervenes and says, well, maybe she should write the menus to start off with. A nice, easy job. And he's like, hey, kid, get away as soon as you can. This is not going to work out.
Interesting.
But Griffin's best line dialogue comes a bit later on.
Oh, yeah.
As things start to happen. What happens now, then, is petty bullshit on the part of Bennick, because...
First, I want to mention one little thing that you mentioned, that Bruce is not as bad a guy as Bennick, and this proves it, I think. We've got Dennis on guard in the corridor, and Bruce comes up and is like, why are you making him wait in the corridor? Well, there's nowhere else to guard him. Well, don't treat him like a prisoner. Jesus. Just being held for security reasons. You all right, Dennis? You want a book and a nice meal or something? Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, he tries to make him feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So that, again, that kind of reinforces the point. He's not a bad guy.
Speaking of bad guys, though,
Bennick. We cut back to the Doctor in Kent in Australia. I think, the Doctor hides because he doesn't want to be seen again, because Bennick now knows he's in Europe and not Australia. And the reason why Bennick comes in is just to be petty.
Yep.
He just taunts Kent. He calls in a couple of soldiers to smash his possessions. Oh, that's a nice plate. Would be a shame if I dropped it. Whoopsie doodle.
Yeah, it's basically, oh, why are you here? Oh, you've got a nice view of the research center from here. How intriguing. Well, I'd leave if I were you. Oh, you can't make me leave. Oh, whoops. Oh, I dropped this portrait. What are you doing? Oh, just an accident. Oh, whoops. Oh, all your cutlery and fine china has been smashed to bits. So, well, I guess you don't have a reason to stay here anymore now, do you? By the way, I wouldn't bother complaining. Nobody would believe you. Bye.
This actually helps Kent's cause a little bit, though, because it's a direct example of Salamander's men being evil.
And I love how the Doctor mourns the dishes. He's like, oh, why do people take nice things and just want to destroy them? It's...
Speaking of destroying nice things, then, we have a poisoning attempt.
Yep.
Federer has got his vial of poison. He goes to see Victoria, because Jamie and Farrier and Victoria are trying to rescue Dinesh before it's too late. He gets to the food, but he has a change of heart. He's like, I can't do this.
I can't kill a man.
He's my friend. So he goes to Salamander, reports his failure. Someone's like, oh, don't worry about it. Here, let's have a glass of wine and you'll feel better. Immediately drops dead of poison. One chance, my friend. That's all you get.
Which I was reading another review of Enemy of the World, which contrasted, because Salamander's obviously the Doctor's physical double. Contrasting one chance, that's all you get, with David Tennant saying, no second chances. That's the kind of man I am.
Oh, come on, no. It's not even similar.
I mean, well, just like as an interesting, oh, that's interesting.
It is. Anyway,
Really.
Here's where we get the best line of Griffin.
Please.
So, at this point, Astrid has entered the compound. She's disguised as a messenger. There's a bit of banter between her and one of the sentries on duty. And I apologise for this, but what Astrid was wearing as the messenger reminded me very much of one of my favourite video games of all time. She looks like this.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
No.
Leather jacket, white pants, black boots.
I see where you're coming from.
The only thing that's missing is the fact that character is not blonde, and Astrid is.
But yeah.
But she gets into the compound. There's a bit of flirtation with one of the guards. They try to get Dinesh out. Goes really well. Dinesh gets shot in the back.
Whoops.
So he's now dead.
And yeah, the Astrid manages to get away, but Jamie and Victoria are caught and grilled by Salamander a bit, and take them away. And then we get the part 3 cliffhanger, which, like you said, a chapter in the book where Bruce finally mentions the Salamander. Well, why did you trust him? I don't understand why you met him in the first place. Oh, when he saved my life. No, before that, at Giles Kent's. What the fuck are you talking about, Bruce? I wasn't at Giles Kent's.
And the light slowly dawns. Then you're saying there's an impersonator.
It was you, though, or somebody who looked like you.
Yeah. We'll skim through part 4 a bit because there are major things to happen. But also the
There's
line
a nice
from
shot
Griffin.
that I love.
The line from Griffin, I forgot.
Oh yeah, the line.
As it's all breaking out and Jamie's trying to get out and the shots going off outside, he's like, the food's terrible. Maybe they'll kill me. Oh no, look, the firing squad will probably miss. Jesus.
When the shooting starts, he's like, the food's not that bad. You don't have to complain.
Yeah, I know the food's bad, but you don't have to complain like that about it. And then he takes cover, and that's the last we see of him, sadly.
Yeah, I love part 4 though, where it opens on that cliffhanger of Salamander realizing, and then it crossfades to the Doctor, which
nice touch.
That's a really good edit.
So we get a bit of we get a bit of recap. Oh, Dennis is dead. What are we going to do? Astrid talks to Giles, tells her to scramble the messages, that sort of thing. Salamander will be returning to Australia. The real Salamander, that is. Not the Doctor. And then we get a surprise recruit to the plan to take down Salamander. Ferrier.
Hey.
Because she hates Salamander's guts because she's a servant to him. She was basically being blackmailed too, like Federin was. We never find out what for. And she thinks she's got what she can use to bring down, or they can use to bring down Salamander. She's got evidence that he blackmailed Federin, and now Federin's dead.
Hey.
So that's great. We can actually, long live the revolution.
Yeah, so if the Doctor impersonates Salamander, he can free Jamie and Victoria. Oh, but Giles doesn't just want to discredit Salamander. He wants to kill him. And the Doctor's like, no, I can't help you with that. No.
Yeah.
That goes against my moral code.
Does he even say that? Like, is that words? I think he does.
No, well, he says it in as much words. Oh, I can't do that. I can't. I'll discredit him, and I'll make sure he pays for his crimes, but I won't kill him.
Yeah. He draws the line at murder.
Yeah.
So, Ferrier is now on board with the plan to bring him down, so that's great. It's great for about 2 minutes.
Bannock's coming.
Shoot any of them on sight, so there's an escape. The escape does not go very well.
Yeah.
Astrid gets away. The Doctor
Everyone
gets away.
Everyone gets away but Faria, who is shot and killed.
Yeah, and the guard captain's like, I'm sorry, but you should have stopped. And then she gets a really nice defiant final line to Bennick, where Bennett's interrogating her as she lays dying. It's like, I'll kill you. I think someone beat you to that.
Damn.
And she won't give up who she was working with, so... But he does get the file from her, unfortunately. Back from her.
Yeah. And so Bruce gets to grill Bennick about this fuck up.
Yeah, and Salamander's furious how he handled it as well, by the way.
Yeah.
But they're furious for different reasons. Bruce is like, it was a completely unnecessary waste of a life and a bundled operation. And Salamander's like, it went terribly, but he doesn't talk about the wasted life.
Bruce and Bennick have to do security stuff, and then things get fucking wild.
Yeah, here's the twist. Here's the big twist. Because Salamander, when he's alone, just goes over to a wall, opens up a secret panel, and goes down an elevator to an underground complex.
In his records room. by the way. And he's like, I'm not to be disturbed and all this shit. And this is normal. Bennett is like, oh, he's locked himself in the records room again. Oh, well.
Yeah. But he hasn't,
But
because
yeah,
he goes down to the underground.
what's underground? Well, yeah, Bruce is all confused by this. Why can't I get in touch with Salamander? Oh, he locks himself in his record room. He does this from time to time. This is no. It's like, well, what if I order you to open it? Oh, it won't do any good. It's locked from the inside, so nothing I can do about it. You just gotta wait for him to come out when he wants to.
Yeah. What he's actually doing is meeting this entirely new group of people that we haven't seen before.
And slowly we realize what the fuck has been going on.
I think they're called shelterers.
Well, here's the juggling game that Salamander. Well, he's been above ground, I'm the political man who will save the world. Oh no, I predict a natural disaster happening here. Oh, you let it happen. Well, I'll gain some more power. Well, he's been doing all that. He's got this team down below who's been causing natural disasters. And he has convinced them that the world that it's a post-apocalypse nuclear wasteland. And he's this lone, brave survivor going up to salvage food and resources and keep them all safe while they cause natural disasters against the enemies of the war that ended humanity.
The enemies of truth and freedom.
Yeah.
Holy 1984, Batman.
So he's got this whole shell game going where he's causing the natural disasters by conning these people. And he's also conning everyone up above and being like, oh, I can save the world from natural
using
disasters.
natural disasters to con everyone and get them to give him power.
Yeah. So he's got a fucking... So yeah, basically the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing.
It's a clever scheme when you think about it. Also, really he tells them he's got radiation sickness and he's dying, but he's still going to try and help them. They've been down here for 5 years.
Christ
These
almighty.
poor people.
Yeah.
And then when one of them says, well, I'd like to come to the surface with you. So, oh, you can't. Oh, by the way, radiation sickness, got to go. Bye.
Yeah, this guy is Colin, and we'll be seeing some more of him later.
And the part for, Colin and Mary are the two that get named.
And the part for Cliffhanger, then, the doctor's getting made up. He's agreed to impersonate Salamander to expose him, not to kill him, just expose him and save Jamie and Victoria. And then someone walks in and catches him being made up to look like Salamander. Oh no, who could it be?
It couldn't be the security chief, Bruce, could it? Oh yes, it could. This is predictable, but it's fine.
What the real twist is that Bruce doesn't immediately arrest them on sight.
No, because he's intelligent. And I think he's figured out something's going on.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what it is exactly, he doesn't know who's behind it exactly, but something's going on. He's suspicious of Giles Kent. Because the only thing that has happened that is bad, he can get the blame for. His impersonator did all this on Kent's behalf. Except he didn't, but we know he didn't, but Bruce doesn't know this. But again, as you say, he doesn't have them arrested. He doesn't have them shot. And he's starting to question what's going on, particularly because of the death of Ferrier. So her death wasn't entirely in vain, sadly. Sorry. Luckily, her death wasn't entirely in vain.
Yeah.
Sadly, just slipped out there. That's not what I meant at all.
It was a sad death, that's what you meant.
It was a sad death, yeah, thank you. But it wasn't in vain. Entirely. So basically a deal is broached. There's a slight bit where Astrid disarms Bruce's guard, points the gun at Bruce, and then the doctor says, no, give him his gun back. As a sign of good faith.
Yeah, he's basically like, hang on, give me the gun, Astrid. Okay, you see, I could shoot you, I could kill you right now. Here, have the gun. Listen, I trust you, Bruce, so I hope that you're going to trust me too.
It's a sign of good faith, and Bruce actually is willing to go along with it. And you might think, it's going to be a double cross down the line. Actually, no.
Nope.
Bruce is a man of his word. So he will allow the doctor to impersonate Salamander, and if it all goes wrong, he'll arrest a lot of them and take them back to Europe. That's the deal that's broached, basically. He'll listen to them. In return, he won't arrest them immediately. But if
Also,
they're lying
only
to
he and
him, God help you.
but also only he and the doctor are going. Kent and Astrid are going to be kept here
Yes,
under
because
guard.
he's not sure he can trust them.
Yeah.
And then what happens with them? Well, basically, Astrid tricks the soldiers, quite cleverly tricks the soldiers at that. She pretends she's killed Giles Kent. And when he bends over to check the corpse, she runs away. He chases after her. The corpse gets up and leaves.
Well, that's near the end of the episode. So.
Yeah, it's tied to this though, isn't it? So
yeah, it is. It is. What happens to Astrid next? It's the next cliffhanger. But back down underground with these survivors.
It's all undone by a newspaper.
So the leader is a swan, and he's going through the food stocks, and he sees this scrap of paper. He picks it up, and it obviously disturbs him very greatly. He just sort of walks over to the panels like, Salamander, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. He comes in and he's like, what is this? It's a newspaper from last year about a holiday liner. How the hell are there holiday liners in the post-nuclear apocalypse? You lied! But Salamander is cool as a cucumber, and he's just like, oh, well, you see, I lied about that part, but I wasn't completely lying. Actually, there was a war, but everyone up above is horribly mutated. And even though they're going on their holiday liners, they're terrible, terrible mutant people. And they're not... And then Salamander does a little bit of eugenics. He's like, they're not pure. They have to die. You have to create earthquakes and volcanoes and kill them all. It's
There's
like,
your second oof of the story.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he goes to that for his lie right away is like, ooh.
And Swan's not happy because he now thinks he's been complicit in murders.
Which
so he demands that, I'm coming to the surface with you. Oh, no, you wouldn't survive. This is not a request, Salamander. I'm coming with you.
And Colin doesn't like that because he's always been... He's like, take me, damn it. I want to go up. I want to go.
Turns out, good thing.
Good thing. But above ground, Bennett gets to be a nasty little character.
Oh, yeah, he also gets his comeuppance at long last. Or is that in part 6?
That's 6. That's
yeah, okay. So
6.
he commits the act that's going to lead to his comeuppance. Because, Bennett comes in to interrogate them. Jay manages to disarm a guard. Bennett responds by pointing a gun at Victoria's head.
Yeah.
Bennett starts torturing Victoria. Not good.
Damn.
But just as Jamie's about to give in and talk, in comes Salamander with Bruce. And they order Bennett out, stop the interrogation. I'll talk to them myself. Victoria and Jamie then confront Salamander. It's like, you evil son of a bitch. You've got all these people killed. Federin was murdered. Dennis was murdered. And this is news to Bruce, who didn't know about this.
Yeah.
And Bruce doesn't just act appalled, he is appalled. And just at the point where Victoria's about to attack Salamander, and Salamander admits what we already know, that he's not Salamander, he's the Doctor, because he's with Bruce.
And to prove it, he's like, no, it's really me. He mimes playing the recorder.
I love that touch. That's a really cute touch.
Yeah.
So, Bruce, do you believe us now? Well, I'm still not entirely sure I believe you, but I don't disbelieve you. I'll investigate.
Yeah. But, meanwhile, Bennett is like, hey, guard, I thought I told you to tell me when Salamander came out of the records room, but he hasn't. What do you mean he hasn't? What? Wait a minute.
Yeah. Then we get the bit of subterfuge of Astrid and Giles. And then Swan goes up to the surface with Salamander until Salamander picks up a metal pipe and mistakes him for a thug in final fight.
My God.
You don't see him hit him. But what you do see is Astrid running away from the guard. She escapes, she goes through the forest, she hears his cries of pain, and it's Swan, and that's your cliffhanger. Who did this to you?
Oof.
A man named Salamander.
Oh,
We are just bombing through this, but that's good. That's good.
I mean, it's good. Yeah. No, there's only two, and also, just
Yeah,
going
absolutely.
through the highlights because it's 6 parts. There's a lot of nuance and stuff.
So, episode 6, Swan leads Astrid to the cave system and then dies.
Womp.
So, ripping pepperonis.
But at least he tells her all about, what Salamander did. We're
Yeah,
all underground,
yeah.
hiding from the
Get them
nuclear
out. Get them
war.
out safe. It's too late for me, but they can survive. Get them out. Let them know what's happened here.
And some interesting stuff happens above ground where the doctor thinks the Salamander's acting disasters. Then Bennick has Salamander, the doctor, sign some stuff. He's obviously on asking about stuff. But he leaves, and the doctor's looking at these papers. Bruce, how many people work at this center? Oh, there's about 6 engineers and 6 guards. So, a dozen people. A dozen people, huh? Why are they ordering food for 30 people?
Yeah, and this is enough to convince Bruce. All right, you're telling the truth. It's obviously an emergency. So, Jamie, Victoria, you need to get out of here. Phone a man I can trust. His name is Forrester. Give him the code Redhead. He'll know something's up. He'll come and help us. Why Redhead's the code? I have no idea, but it is.
Who knows? But, yeah. Back underground, Astrid finds the people, and they are like, oh god, there's a fucking irradiated mutant. Holy shit.
They start hitting her
Yeah.
because they think she's one of these irradiated people. Colin and Mary stop them from doing
Yeah,
this.
wait a fucking minute. Stop beating this person with sticks. Let's see what she has to say.
And what she has to say is that there's no war. There's you've all been lied to. Yeah, well, you're going for decontamination, and the decontamination is positive, so they're about to hit her again. But Astrid thinks quickly and says, no, this is a sham. I can prove it. She picks up a ruler, which has been with them the whole time. She puts that through the decontamination machine, and it registers positive.
There's like a little sensor. Whenever something passes the sensor, the gauge goes, ooh, radiation detected.
It's a clever little magic trick.
It's a la con.
A bit like Salamander.
Meanwhile, then Giles Kent, and this is wild. This is like the part of the big climax of the story. Giles Kent has infiltrated the center, and he's entered the records room, and he gets confronted by Salamander. And Bruce and Bennick see this on the screen, but Giles Kent has double locked the doors, and so they're all sealed in. And they have their confrontation. Oh, you should have stopped me when you had the chance, Salamander. All this shit. But Giles knows about the secret passage to the bunker. And so then Salamander reveals, oh yeah, well, it was me. It's me, I'm the doctor, hi.
Yeah.
And right behind him are Astrid and the bunker people, and they're like, hey, that's Giles Kent. He's the guy who put us in the bunker.
Yeah, Colin and Mary say they identify Giles Kent as Salamander's conspirator, so they were originally partners.
Partners in their scheme for world domination.
This idea that Salamander turned on him because he was going to go against him is nonsense. It's a question of thieves falling out.
Yeah.
But Salamander had the power and Giles Kent didn't, so he retreated
so all this
to Australia.
So all this Salamander is evil talk. I mean, it's correct. But also, as the doctor says, oh, you didn't just want to stop Salamander by killing him. You wanted to take his place. And then you'd be the dictator.
And he figured out that he was actually evil because he was far too keen to have people killed.
Yeah. Which goes away to explain why the doctor is so reluctant in the story to get involved. Because he's probably on to Kent and it's like, well, I got to make sure, And so, yeah. But Kent's like, I'm going to get away. I'm going to blow. There's explosives down there. I'll blow this whole thing up.
Yeah, so he takes off. Astrid at that point had held him at gunpoint, so she's turned on him.
And Bennick gets some comeuppance now.
Yeah, not much for one, sadly.
Oh, well.
Forrester has arrived with his own trustworthy group of guards. So Bruce has them arrest Bennick and the soldiers that are loyal to Bennick, or under Bennick's command. feel a bit sorry for the soldiers because again they're just doing what they were told.
They were just following orders.
But well, yeah, the Nuremberg defense does not really fly here. But yeah, so Bennett's out of the picture. We don't see him again. We hope that he was put on trial and made to face justice for being a slimy little git. But we still have Giles Kent and we still have the real Salamander.
They confront each other down in the caves.
Yes, they do. It's not much of a confrontation because Salamander just shoots Giles Kent. Kent's like, "Oh, we can work together. We can rule the world together." No, we're not. Bang.
But Kent manages to crawl away. The Salamander's like relishing, like hunting him down. Like, I'm gonna kill you. Bang, bang. And he takes another shot. But just before Kent keels over, he pulls the lever and detonates the bomb, and all hell breaks loose.
It's like Rodney Buse in Resurrection of the Daleks. He gets shot, but still detonates the bomb.
Oh God. But yeah, and so all pandemonium is going off in the research center because these bombs go off, and everyone gets out. And Jamie and Victoria are waiting by the TARDIS, and here comes the Doctor wandering around.
There's also an important bit where you know that Astrid is actually on the level because she wants to get the people out.
Oh yeah,
because they're innocent. So Bruce says, "Right, take some of my men and get them out." Men, you can trust her, follow her instructions, and they do get them out.
Yeah. So we're by the TARDIS. It's nighttime. The Doctor wanders in. He's all disheveled and confused, probably from the explosion. Jim's like, "Come on, Doctor. Let's get in the TARDIS. Go." Oh, whew. Glad we got out of that. Can we get out of here? Oh, and the Doctor just sort of gestures to the TARDIS and it's like, "Wait, you want me to pilot the TARDIS? But I've never done that before." Oh, it was Salamander. It wasn't the Doctor, because the Doctor just walked in.
Yeah, Salamander gets a great laugh because Salamander is dressed as Salamander, so that's why they think it's originally the Doctor.
Yeah.
But then the Doctor turns up at the door of the TARDIS in his regular outfit. And Salamander basically says, "Well, you spent so much time impersonating me, I thought it was only fair to the boot be on the other foot for a change."
And so they have a little struggle, and I think we gotta hit that button. So they're fighting, and there's some good double I don't know what you call it, split screen to show the two Patrick Troughton's.
Yeah, it's a good effect. It looks pretty convincing.
Some clever use of shooting one of them from behind.
It's always tricky to have two characters played by the same actor in the same shot.
Yeah.
And particularly if they're interacting physically like they are here.
Yeah.
But with clever use of doubles and camera work, this looks quite effective.
This is good. There's not much of it because they're putting this together on the budget of the prop guy's lunch, but it's good for what it is.
So there is a scuffle, and Salamander wins the scuffle.
But they hit the controls. The TARDIS, it dematerializes. It flies out of control. It tilts, and fucking Salamander falls out and is yeeted into the time vortex,
screaming all the time like this. End of episode. That's a wild way to finish it.
Yeah, there is a little bit at the beginning of the next story, which is the Web of Fear, where they're like, "Oh, wow, Salamander got yeeted into the time vortex. That was fucked up. Whew, well, glad that's all over. Too bad, though. Anyway, what's going on now? Oh, shit." On to their next adventure. But that's Enemy of the World. But I think I need to bring up a comic that sort of touches on the legacy of Salamander.
Oh, please go ahead.
So, there's a Titan third Doctor comic written by Paul Cornell of all. It's an art called The Heralds of Destruction, and I haven't read it in a while, but it's your typical third Doctor nostalgia comic. You've got three, you've got Joe, you've got the Brigadier, the Master's doing some bullshit. It's the kind of comfort food you expect from a third Doctor throwback, and you can't really complain about that. It's well done. It has some interesting moments, but and I'm going to spoil the comic for you. So if you're into this sort of thing, go check out the comic. But here's your spoiler. One of the issues ends with, "Oh shit, the second Doctor's here. It's a multi-Doctor story. Oh, wow, it's wild." And so they work together for a bit, but then a couple issues later, it's not the second Doctor. It's Salamander. who sort of had the Grand Serpent thing happen, where after his fall from the Time Vortex, he goes back in time to like the 50s or 60s or something, and he's plotting his revenge, and so he impersonates the Doctor, and also influences technology and whatnot to enact his evil scheme, which involved like nanomachines or some shit, alien nanomachines to take over the world. And then he's eventually stopped, and the Master does some bullshit too. So it's wild that that Cornell played with the lore stuff. He can make you go, oh wow, it's the second Doctor, holy shit! And then he pulls from the back catalog and goes, actually, it's the villain from Enemy of the World. Surprise! It's a cute twist.
I kind of love that twist.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work on TV because we haven't seen Salamander for so long, and also Petra Troughton's no longer with us. But yeah, in a comic book format, I can see that working.
Oh yeah, definitely works. It's a decent little comip.
I wonder if that comic might get ported over to audio one day.
Maybe. I mean, well, they've got 2 and 3 sound-alikes in that.
I mean, they got his actual son. They got his actual son in his sound-alike now, so
yeah. And they actually did honest to God, another second Doctor, third Doctor crossover audio on Big Finish.
I should probably check that out. They
haven't done anything with Salamander. Yeah, it's an interesting little comic, and it uses it takes from continuity as a deep cut, as a surprise sort of thing. Okay, but Enemy of the World then.
Yeah, well, I picked this, so you go first.
It's good. I may have cooled on it a little in the past. I mean, I'm not completely uncritical of it, because you got the issue, obviously, of Patrick Troughton as Salamander is dodgy, shall we say. So, black mark against it. But what we got is an interesting little story with lots of political intrigue, lots of action. And, it's a solid break away from the usual story that they shoved Patrick Troughton in those middle years where it's like, here's some monsters coming at the thing. So, points for variety, too. It's good. God help me, it's good. Not perfect by any means, of course, but it's if you can get past those problematic elements from 1968, it is worth your time to watch. And it's very nice that we can actually, watch it in full now. That's kind of a luxury that you don't often see with these recovered Doctor Who stories. So that's nice. But yeah, I enjoyed revisiting. Go ahead.
I also enjoyed it. And like you, I enjoyed it a little bit less the second time than I did back in 2014. Because I wasn't thinking about the whole problematic element of Mexican stereotype.
To be fair, neither was I, but that's part of growing and changing. You can accept your failures and
yeah, and I don't think we did too badly, but yeah. It is an issue, and it's an issue that I'm happy to call out now.
Exactly.
And also the eugenics line is kind of a yikes now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of a yikes back then, but I didn't really spot it. But again, growing and changing. I love the political intrigue of this one. I love the fact that you've got characters on the quote-unquote good side who have got questionable morals. You've got people on the quote-unquote bad side who are actually, kind of decent, like Bruce.
Yeah.
And Griffin the Chef is amazing as a side character.
The Chef is amazing. I didn't mention that, but Griffin the Chef is fucking best.
I kind of took that for granted. Yeah. I mentioned him for both of us right here. But yeah, does it justify 56 on that poll? Well, I don't really trust that poll anyway, so yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good for the poll, considering.
It's one of my more liked Patrick Troughton stories, I would say.
I mean, I'll still go to bat for a Gonzo one. Like
it's no mind robber, is it? The mind robber is fantastic.
It's not. I mean, this is better than Underwater Menace, but Underwater Menace is way the fuck more out there. So
yeah, I appreciate that, and also that has special status given it's to the show. So that's fine. But yeah, I if you want to track this one down because it is available on DVD, you can do worse. You can certainly do worse.
Yeah.
So that was this week's episode. Next week's episode is not being picked by either of us, because I swapped the orders.
Woo!
Kachiri has the board for this one.
Oh no, what have we got?
No, I think it'll be alright, because he did message me. And he said, have we done much Ninth Doctor stories? And I pointed out we've done Rose, we've done Dalek, we've done Doctor Dances and The Empty Child. I got those the wrong way around, didn't I? We haven't done this one before yet, though, because next time on Doctor Who Reviews, Christopher Eccleston stars in The Unquiet Dead.
Okay, there's a... Actually, it's funny thinking of Paul Cornell again, because I'm pretty sure he had a real problematic reading of this episode. I'll have to see if I agree with him on that.
I wasn't aware of a problematic reading of this episode, so I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah. Has to do with the alien antagonist, you know?
That's my attack. You're blue now.
Yeah, but we'll deal with that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But no, I think he's picked a decent one. One that would have a lot of implications for wider Doctor Who universe, because one of the actors in it, who would go on to play another character, who's a bit more well known.
That. I thought you were talking about Dickens.
No, but though Keller would go on to portray him again, but not in Doctor Who.
Yes, he would.
Which is interesting, and we'll touch on that, I'm sure, next week.
Yes, he would. You're forgetting The Wedding of River Song.
Is he in that?
He's in that at the beginning when all time and space is fuck you up.
Oh, yeah, but I meant outside of Doctor Who as well.
Well,
he portrayed Dickens.
You said he never appeared in Doctor Who.
Yeah, he appeared outside of Doctor Who as well as Dickens, is what I meant to say.
Right, well, either way.
But yes, he is in Wedding of River Song. I've forgotten about that. As is some
Which is
American,
a good episode.
Is it Meredith Vieira as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Of all people, she gets a cameo.
Which Wedding of River Song? It's a good episode. Lightning.
Maybe we'll cover that one day.
Well, I mean,
we did the silence, didn't we?
We covered it in the silence arc discussion.
Yeah. Maybe not. Then.
I don't know if that warrants going back to in full.
I don't think it warrants it, to be honest with you either, no.
I but it's a good episode.
Anyway, you can find us on Twitter at ReviewsDoctor. Individually, you can find us on Twitter at FreezingInferno, at RainOutTheManiac, at The Kachiri, at Concave Usurper. We all stream on Twitch. No, honestly, we all do. Twitch.tv/Rainiac, /FreezingInferno, /Concave Usurper, and /The Kachiri. May he win his tournament.
The fact that I haven't streamed in a month and a half, I'll get back to it, I swear.
Hence, honestly, we all do.
And you'll get back to
I might stream again the end of this week, because there's another Fall Guys event happening.
Okay.
The Idle Games, whatever the hell that is.
Well, if I got some time, I'll hop on that with you.
I'd like to get a squad of 4 together, because it's more efficient that way.
We'll see.
Now watch as I open that event, it's like, oh, you can't play us in a squad of 4. Damn it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Because that's happened before.
Don't forget to buy The Time for Trees by Sean Dillon and Back to the 11th Hour Volumes 1 and 2 by Christopher Tier. Available now on Amazon.
Absolutely not. Please do buy both of those works. All 3 of those works, in fact, because it's 2 volumes.
3 of those works. Yeah. Gosh. In a couple of months, Krista will be posting the
and a special shout out before I forget
post
to one of our extended family on Doctor Who reviews, one Michael Hoovian, who saved the day when he pointed out that I left in some dead air on the last podcast we did.
Oh yeah.
I'm not ashamed to admit when I make a mistake, and I just missed it.
Mm-hmm.
I just missed it in the editing suite, but Mike didn't. He informed me politely, and so yeah. Tip of the cap to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Let's talk more about Quantum Leap and DM.
We have some good friends.
Yes, we do.
Good people. We surround ourselves with good people. Also, shout out to Iffy, who's going through a terrible time at the moment.
Much love to you, Iffy.
Yeah. You'll get through this. You'll make him pay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, it's
So,
anyway,
that's us being the enemy of the world then, with just the 2 of us. Hopefully next week we'll have somebody else.
It's just you and me again. We're locked in this cage.
He is the Sherlock Holmes to my Moriarty. It's FreezingInferno.
Say goodnight.
As we go over the record book together, good night, Rainiac. Join us next time for The Unquiet Dead. Until then, bye for now. Let's do this. And remind me to give Michael Hoovian a special shout out at some point.
Or
he helped me with a podcast issue.
okay.
I accidentally left off some dead air at the end of the.
Oh yeah, I caught that.
Yeah, well, he informed me and I trimmed it in YouTube, so
Good.
he will get a special shout out for helping me with the show.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I caught that because I looked at the show.
Let's. It's a miracle. Let's do this.
Put that in the blooper reel. There you go.
Consider it
Put
done.
that in and prove it. Oh, I watched it.
Consider it done. The proof that Frezno watches the podcast sometimes. And sometimes he doesn't.